Welcome to the Get Tailored podcast. Join us as we explore insightful conversations on professional organizing, tackling both internal and external chaos, and discovering the transformative power of clarity and purpose in every aspect of life. If you're loving what you hear, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our channel. Hey there, this is Nicole Taylor with Get Tailored Podcast. Thanks for coming back. If you like this content, please subscribe, like, share with your friends. I want to introduce to you Laura Voight. She is another organizer. As you know, this is a podcast about professional organization on top of other topics. So I wanted to introduce to you Laura. Laura, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So this particular episode, I really wanted to focus on digital organization. I know we're in a digital world. People struggle with trying to even get online as far as finding their files and pictures and, those kind of things. And so first of all, how did you get started? Tell me a little bit about you and how you got into this.
Well, my background is originally I was a professional photographer.
Okay.
Worked in a few museums in San Francisco and Philadelphia. So conservation and I was in the conservation department.
Yes.
So preserving things was kind of ingrained in me.
Okay.
And then the digital revolution happened, and then you had to try and find all your files that were digital. And they could be photos, or they could be actual files, or they could be documents or audio files, and so it was kind of a logical progression from the photography into helping people manage photos, and then that became, well, you're so good at all this technology stuff. Can you help me?
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z.
Gotcha. And so how long have you been doing this?
So the digital managing has been about 5 years.
5 years. Awesome. Cool. So you started out being a photographer. Mm-hmm. And what type of photography were you showcasing?
Mainly it was people, families, portraits, pets.
Okay, just an overview of
yes,
all photography.
Exactly, and dealing with families. So part of why it moved into organizing photos is there's a lot of mothers out there that are extremely stressed because they have pictures of their kids and they're in 7 different formats, most of which they can't watch anymore. Do you have a CD player in your computer anymore?
No.
You don't.
Right.
Do you have a DVD player at home?
Yeah.
You might not. And if you do, how are you making those digital?
Yeah. Right.
How can you see it in the next revolution? Not everything stays upgraded.
That's right.
Technology moves at all times, so you have to be prepared for that.
Yeah, right. So what would you say to someone who is kind of hesitant about going completely digital? So, for instance, their family photos, they have bins and boxes full of photos. First of all, I mean, just that alone is like a huge roller coaster, right? Mm-hmm. Of trying to sift through different photos and what's important, what's really not, Back in the day when they used to you'd go to Costco and just get your printed photo copies, and half of them came out blurry or there's a thumb in the way, all that stuff. I think if I was to organize or help someone with that, that's kind of where I would start, is just sift through all the stuff, get rid of all the blurry ones, get rid of the stuff that, the pictures that don't really, mean anything to them. And then hire you to come in and get the ones that they were keeping and get them online, or get them
well digital. Sometimes they need help with that organization process, though.
Yeah.
You get that tub of photos and then people are overwhelmed and don't know where to start, and how do I categorize them? Do I do it by place? Do I do it by date? Mm-hmm. Do I remember who this person is? Does my mother remember who this person is? Is that photo relevant anymore?
Right.
Because if you don't know who it is and nobody else knows who it is, then
exactly.
Why are we hanging on to it?
Right. Yeah.
And the other thing that you'll find, I grew up in the color film generation.
Okay.
Which means that none of your photos exist anymore. They pretty much have the color has been wiped away from
deleted.
them. It's all faded.
Yep.
It cannot necessarily be restored either. So the sooner you digitize your collection, especially if it's color photos, the better off you'll be.
Yeah.
Because you can't trust that these things in boxes that are sitting in your garage in 110-degree heat.
And they're all sticking together because
of the glossy part of the photo. Or they've gotten a little water in them and then they're really a sticky mess.
Yeah.
So, and it's an investment.
Yeah.
It's definitely an investment. But if you think about it as taking that investment with you through the rest of your life and handing it off to someone else as a hierarchy, then that's the way to look at it from that investment standpoint.
Do you know anything about the restoration process of photography? Like
it's not my specialty.
Yeah.
But it definitely, there's a lot of labs out there that do a really good job of taking old photos that have pretty much disappeared and bring them back to life the best that they can.
Yeah.
The black and white ones, believe it or not, are easier than the color photos to do so. Mm-hmm. But there's still hope out there. You just have to get professional help.
Yeah, you got to find someone who has the right equipment and tools and knowledge. The skill set to get them back. What I find, especially here in Arizona, because it's so hot, people don't think about where they're keeping photos, and I think that's kind of a big problem here because they're like, oh, just store them in a tub in the garage. Well, you open that garage or that bin up years later and they're all stuck together and just a huge mess. And so it's like, also, if you are going to keep photos off of digital, like you just keep the hard copies, what type of resources would you, I guess, recommend for people to use?
So in general, there's a theory called 3-2-1.
Okay.
You have 3 backups. Gotcha. So you have one on your computer, you have one in a cloud, and you have one on a backup hard drive.
Wow.
So in 2 different locations and 1 different protocol on how to handle it.
Gotcha.
So you're really making sure that both your system's backed up, your external hard drive's backed up, and your cloud photos are being backed up all at the same time.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I recently had a situation where my battery was going bad on my computer.
Okay.
And it made me develop a discipline of backing up every day, putting my whole entire system on a cloud backup from my computer. And that's also how I handle my photos.
Yeah.
I put them on an external drive, I put them in a cloud, and I keep them on my system at home.
Oh, wow.
So it's
3 places.
3 places.
Wow. So do you find
and one should be off-site. That's the other last thing, is one should be off-site. So a cloud is a perfect example of that.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you find have you ever met a client or someone who's interested in going digital but have hesitancy because of, maybe they're up in age and they're not used to everything being digitized, right? It's a new world we live in now. So how do you work with those type of people who are struggling with even trying to get to that point?
Well, I think in some cases, appealing to the fact that you can't see this in a box.
Yeah. It's not tangible.
It's not tangible.
You can't touch it. Yeah.
You can't touch it. You can't see it. You can't look at it. You don't really have that photo because it's stored away somewhere.
Right.
But if you have it digital, you can hand it off to someone. It's not stored in a box.
Yeah.
You can see it more frequently, and it's preserved.
Gotcha.
And a lot of this stuff is just fading as time passes by.
Right.
And it really has to be, it tends to be one person's job in the family to take over that ancestry hub and try and put it together for the whole family.
That was my aunt. Mm-hmm. My Aunt Patty. She was the queen of all family photos for 5-6 generations. Mm-hmm. She kept, it was probably started obviously with my grandma, right? And then And then she passed it along to my aunt, and then my aunt passed it along to her daughter. And then I swear every Christmas or holiday we go up there, they bring out that bin of, really well. I mean, they kept them. I mean, they're all pretty in good shape. A lot of them are like black and white even. But my aunt was so good about writing on the back and a pin of who's in the photo. Like, like it's great. Oh, that's your great uncle in like the 1940s or whatever. Like, like it's just like crazy how that happens.
Well, and getting them organized in a fashion where you can actually refer back to them. One of the things you had mentioned before is the photos, they end up in boxes that are in the garage. And the one, in my generation, we had those sticky photo albums that have the plastic cover and then the photos stick to the back of it and then it sticks in the album. Well, think about trying to take that photo out to now scan that photo.
Oh, it's going to be like...
You're going to have a hard time ripping it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or it's going to take the finish off the photo, so then it's going to be distorted, right? Or like just messed up, so you can't use that.
So there's a lot of things, like if the glue dries up, you're good because then it'll all fall out of place, which happens half the time.
Yeah.
But then you have the other half of the time where you end up sometimes having to scan the whole page.
Right.
Because you can't take it out of the book.
Right. Yeah, I remember having a client that had like an entire bookshelf of photo albums. And back in the day, back in the 60s and 70s, the photo albums were thick. They're like big.
The pictures themselves are thick.
Yeah, that's right.
They're like a thicker paper than what we use now.
Yeah, so I just was like, I was thinking about that the other day, and I was looking at this bookshelf full of photographs or photo albums, and I'm like, you would have to go in each photo album, take it down, pick your favorites, and then get rid of the rest. Like, like, is it necessary to keep every single photo? I don't think it
is not.
Thing. Yeah.
And sometimes giving people the permission to throw out the uglies, the eyes closed, the blurry, the duplicates.
The duplicates.
Yeah, right. Costco didn't do us any favors when they gave us all those duplicate photos.
We need triple of all the things.
Yes.
Even the blurry ones. So.
I just had a mother whose life I organized with her photos of her kids, and she had, I kid you not, 7 copies of duplicates.
Why?
So you got in there and you got in one hard drive and there were duplicates from another hard drive and from another hard drive and then on a CD and then on a... And so you have to look through all those mediums.
Sure.
Because you don't want to miss a photo either.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, nowadays our cameras are on our phones. And so everything is, in your photo library or whatnot in your phone. And they have these really cool apps now that it's called Cleanup or,
there's lots of duplication
There's tons
apps.
of duplication apps. And they'll just it'll go in and just go through you could have 2,000 photos on your phone and they can go through and it just kind of collects the ones or likes, or alike. And then they'll delete, just pick one out of sometimes you And then it's like, have you ever accidentally taken pictures on your phone? Like you're picking it up and you're randomly on some wall or the floor or, and it's crazy how there's so much of just garbage. It is.
Well, and you almost want to develop the system of putting photos that matter to you in albums. Okay. Just like you would put it on a shelf.
Yeah.
Right? In your phone, you're going to put it in an album because then you can back up just that album.
Yeah.
And add it to your photo collection.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but I'll open my phone and I'll be like, oh, well, what date was this? Or where was this picture? Or how long ago did I take it? And you scroll and you scroll and you scroll.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Well, there's software and systems down applications where you are just making folders and albums in there. Yeah. So I open up that app and I'll search, San Francisco, or I'll search, family. Yeah. I'll search person's name. Tagging
people.
Is huge.
Yeah.
Huge with the photo collection.
So does those applications work the same as on an Android and an iPhone? I mean, they're all kind of very universal.
Correct.
When it comes to kind of or digitizing and organizing your photos on your phone.
I mean, from the phone, it tends to be more Apple-related photos.
Sure.
Because most people have the iPhone.
Yeah.
But you can do it in any platform and any
platform.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes people will come to me and say, I don't even know where to begin. Like I mean, not just photos, but like paper, It's like they want to get minimal and kind of of course you have to keep certain paperwork, right? Like you have to keep your birth certificate. You have to keep certain things on a physical copy, and keeping those, of course, in a good area or a good place where you don't lose them, and then you can find them.
You can find them.
Yeah.
Well, and that's another reason to use cloud storage too, because
Gotcha.
what happened, I have all those documents up on the cloud.
Yeah.
Because what happens if my place catches on fire? How am I accessing all those documents that just burnt? You're not.
Unless
You have
go
to have a
back
copy in the cloud.
courthouse.
Unless you go to the courthouse, right?
You have to
have a copy in the cloud.
Yep.
Or how do you find it on your computer?
I know.
Oh, I scanned my ID. What do you call it? Do you call it DL for
Personal
driver's
files,
license, or
like
driver's
personal-
license? Or,
Yeah.
so file naming becomes, and that's one thing that I beat a drum about.
Okay. Yeah.
File naming.
Yes.
This is how you find your files.
Yeah.
And if you can't find your files, it's useless to do a digital system.
Right.
The first structure in file and naming your file should be you always have the year first.
Okay.
And then you have an underscore, and then you have the month, underscore day. So that way, if you're in a file, if you're looking in your computer, everything is going to go chronologically.
Yeah.
Every single thing. And then you make subcategories from there. So, for example, receipts and statements are always one category I have because that relates to taxes.
Right.
So in 2025, I have one folder that is all receipts and documents, and all of those things go in there as soon as I scan them.
Right.
And then I'll put the name, if it's insurance, if it's a gas receipt, if it's... So other qualifying details so that you know where those things
where to
are.
find them when you need them.
But folder structure it's big to have folders on your desktop, and it's good to use them.
Yeah. So how would you explain how to maintain that? So like if someone's not naturally organized and they want to kind of get better at it, do you have some kind of guidance to how to guide them through keeping it a certain way once you get them organized? So say you finally got them to digitize 80% of everything. How do you help them keep it that way?
Well, the interesting part with digitizing is to keep it that way is the hardest part. You have to come up with your systems.
Yeah.
So you really have to look at what you do on a daily basis, what categories you have, and you find a bigger sort of parent structure to it.
Sure.
So I know now that I have receipts. I also have important documents.
Yeah.
I also have stuff for clients.
Yeah.
So each becomes a folder, and then within that folder, you have different subcategories in that folder.
Sure. That makes sense. Yeah, I think structure is really important, but also simplifying it too.
Yes.
I feel like the harder, like the more it could get really complex, especially for someone who doesn't naturally have the tendency to stay or be organized. And so I feel like when I create some systems for my clients, I just think very, very simply, like, okay, if I was them and I struggle with organizing and I struggle with, specifically paperwork, let's just say, how do we create files or the structure to keep it very simple? Because if you go into someone's home to organize it, you don't want to make it so hard for them to keep up with it, because then they're,
Exactly.
Well,
some of it is setting them up with a structure that works for them.
Yeah.
You have to figure out your categories. It's
Gotcha.
all about your categories.
Right.
Your
Naming.
category, it might be a kid, it might be church, it might be school, it might be tax related.
Right.
So you figure out your categories is the most important part. And then you just find a jumping off point.
Gotcha.
We just entered into the second half of this year.
Yeah.
So for people wanting to switch over to digital, you do it. You start scanning your receipts once a week.
Yep. You have to start somewhere.
You have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just pick a jumping off point and start.
Yeah.
You're halfway through the year. Now would be a time where you could transition into digital.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like to call it Filing Fridays.
Oh, cool.
So on Friday, I take an hour, and that could be filing electronically. It could be filing paper. Because yes, there are some things that I still keep paper-wise. I still keep some taxes paper-wise.
Does, yeah.
I have wills and documents and things like that, on paper, in a firebox.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you can really simplify the paper.
Yeah.
You just create a problem of shredding.
Yeah. Right.
But it's still a better problem to have, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Because you're still going through those files. You're trying to find something.
Yeah.
You can't find it in your file or on your computer.
Right,
so
right.
You have to come up with a naming system.
Naming system is really important.
And always putting the date and the year first in your naming system. Not last, but it has to come first.
And why is that? I'm just curious.
So then it goes chronologically no matter how you're looking at your system.
Okay. Date first.
Yes. Year
and date.
Month, day.
Okay. Awesome.
So then it's, let's say, 2025, 06, 14. So that's June 14th, 2025.
Uh-huh.
So the next thing I scan, 06, 15, is going to come right after that 14.
Yeah, right.
And then the next would be the 16th, and it'd come right after that.
Yep. Right.
Because that also helps you, if you have a general idea of, I know it was June that I had this. Well, you can look up 2025-06 and find everything that has June in it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's easy.
So finding your stuff is half the battle. Getting your folders. I do some folders on my desktop that are active folders. Mm-hmm. And my documents are all my tax receipts or calendar or marketing or things I don't need all the time.
Right.
That I just occasionally go to. So that way my desktop is pretty clean.
Yeah.
And it's just those things I'm actively using.
Right.
And then it's kind of like I put it away in my documents when it's done being an active folder.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wow.
And then backing up.
Oh, yeah, and then you have to go back.
And then you back up. So there's a lot of them that you can just set it and forget it, and it just does it automatically for you. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of systems like that. But, data crashes, hard drive crashes, it all happens.
Right.
I've lost a hard drive. I've lost an external hard drive.
Sure.
It's just the name of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to really make sure that you're doing it in a couple different formats.
Right. Instead of just going out and buying a new computer. I've seen people do this. They're like, they back it up on an external hard drive, like you said, but they'll keep that external hard drive separate from, say, a new laptop that they buy, because they don't want to bombard it with old
They don't want to junk up the old one.
Right, exactly.
The new one with the old stuff.
Yeah, and so they almost get a clean slate, like just fresh start, which I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea.
No, just like you pick a jumping off point. Okay, so I'm taking my digital chaos and I'm organizing it and I'm starting it in a new spot and I'm going to develop all new traits when it comes to this. Right. There is something good to be said for that, because you just start a new structure and a new system.
Right. Okay, one other thing I have to ask you about. So email. Mm-hmm. Email is a cluster. I look at mine, I have 2,100 blah, blah, blah emails. what I do is I try daily, and I started this habit maybe about 2 years ago. Is like, okay, every single day I open my email in the mornings, usually with my coffee, and I will delete all emails that I don't want.
Right.
Right
all
away.
Your unread ones.
Yeah.
Or ones that are the junk.
Yeah. Well, now Gmail has gotten smarter, I feel like, and easier to use. I feel like user-friendly, to where you have promotional emails going into one file. You have your social, and then promotions, I think, was the other category.
But sometimes they're still in your inbox, too.
Yeah, which is annoying, because it's like, I don't
Just put it in one place for me.
Yeah, I don't want to see all that stuff. I mean, there's occasional things that because you can read on the top of, like, say, the category of promotions, you'll see an ad or something, and you're like, oh, I want to look at that, and so you open it up. But, like, yeah, so that I find, like, yeah, Gmail is great, but it also is like, now I have backup storage for it because I don't delete enough.
Exactly.
You know? So
well, and that's what we call digital trash.
Oh, okay.
And you're kind of going to always be haunted by digital trash.
Sucks.
It's like a level of acceptance you have to have.
Sure.
That you're never going to go back. You know, you're probably not going to go backwards and clean up those 2,000 messages. Like, does it really worth your time to do that?
Right.
Or is it worth your time to set up a structure going forward?
Yeah. Right.
Use your labels when your email comes in, and you put it in a labeled folder that's in your hierarchy of your Google account.
I tried to do that, and it's hard. It's like I forget about it, even though I see it every day. It's on the left-hand side, right? And then you're like, oh, I have a folder for that. You know? Shoot. All right, cool. Well, I think we gotta hit the road. So thank you so much, Laura, for joining me. I am so excited to learn about you. Where can people find you online?
You can just go to my name, lauravoigt.com.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks again for joining us at Get Tailored Podcast. Please subscribe, like, share with your friends. Appreciate you guys joining in. Take care. If you're loving what you've heard today, be sure to hit the subscribe button, give us a like, and share this episode with your friends. We're here to bring you more valuable tips and inspiring stories, and we would love for you to be a part of our journey. Your support means the world to us. Let's keep the conversation going.